Ready there, big fella?
Oh, yeah, I'm ready.
Right on. What's up, guys? Coach Darrell back from castironworkouts.com. I got Mikey with me. Today is September 27th, Sunday. This is our second episode we are filming today.
Back to back.
Yeah, we're crazy like that. Mike's drinking a Gatorade Zero. Today, our second episode here, we are going to talk a little bit. This won't be a crazy long episode. We're going to talk a little bit about kids and kids working out and kids in fitness. If you guys have watched all of our episodes, you know that I have a son who is, he'll be 9 at the end of this year. And, he works out. He plays sports. If you guys know me, you guys know that I've coached sports for quite some time, between Dalton and, coaching high school sports, almost 20 years. I was a high school football head coach. I coached track and field. I coached Dalton in baseball and football. And it's been a definitely an experience for me, over the years, kind of my coaching style evolving and stuff like that, and seeing it from a different side now as a parent. And anyways, coaching kids and kids working out is something that is a subject that's argued about quite a bit, right? And I'm going to talk more today about working out because there's a lot of misconceptions out there when it comes to kids working out. I think that kids as young as 4 and 5 years old should work out. Now, when I say work out, I'm not talking about a 4 or 5 year old doing heavy back squats.
So we're not waking my nephews up at 4 a.m. and going on a 5-mile run?
Why not? If you're not, you're doing something wrong, okay? You're a terrible uncle. You should be. Driving in the car next to him, smoking a cigarette.
They'll probably beat me up.
No, I honestly think that that needs to be something that is instilled in kids early. Now, when I say working out, I'm saying that kind of loosely. It's the younger the kids are, the more it should be fun and play than working out, right? Mm-hmm. And it doesn't need to be anything where you're breaking kids down for sets and reps of 3 exercises of whatever. It's helping them move properly, right? Getting them in good positions, getting them to explore and play is huge, right? And I don't think that's done enough. Why? I think that a lot of that, especially right now, as we're indoors quite a bit, but I think a lot of that has been taken away from kids over the years, right? Whether it be the times, the technology, or whatever, kids just don't seem to be outdoors as much. They don't seem to be moving as much, right? And I think, in my own personal opinion, I think that needs to be a main focus for people. It needs to really be something, again, that's instilled early and kind of brought back to the forefront. Overall, I don't care what age you're talking about for kids, is working out needs to be fun, right? Or they're not going to want to do it. Like even, you see Dalton, and Dalton's a pretty active kid, right? And he comes in here and he does some of the workouts with our classes. He's going to be 9 years old and he's working out with adults. Now, do I let him do everything the adults are doing? No. And when he is doing things, do I modify things for him to make it appropriate to him? Yes, 100%. And do we try and incorporate fun to make things fun? For sure. For sure. And I think that's something that when, when people are getting their kids to work out, they aren't focusing on enough. And I'm not trying to sound like a jerk, but it's the the dads who's getting their kid to work out, and they're like, well, come on, let's go lift heavy, and I'm just going to push. Well, after a while, that kid's not going to want to do it. Right. It's just like that with sports too. You see that with dad coach, who, is pushing their kids to play baseball year round, and let's go. We're 100 miles an hour of baseball, not even just baseball or soccer or football or track or, whatever. And by the time the kid's 12, they're like, I'm over it.
They hate the sport. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to do this. This is stupid. And that's kind of the last thing you want. Right. Like, so it's more about focusing on fun, letting the kids explore, play, learn what their bodies can do, what they're capable of. And most importantly, like if you are teaching movement, it needs to be about technique. It needs to be about technique over anything. Like these kids are going to have so many years ahead of them to lift and lift heavy and get strong. Like it'll come, teaching them that patience is big, right? And teaching them the technique is even bigger, right? If they learn good technique, the weight will come. It'll come. They'll get strong. They will. I promise. I've had a lot of kids over the years. And now I'm talking a little bit older than what my son is, but a lot of kids or young athletes who I've trained that are, high school athletes or young high school athletes, and what do they want to do? There's a huge ego. They want to put a ton of weight on the bar and I want to lift.
They just get frisky, huh?
Yeah. Oh yeah. And like especially as a football coach, that was something that was hard to try and monitor when you got a weight room full of 50 kids who are working out.
Amped up.
Oh yeah.
Probably and looking at each other, and they feel the peer pressure of.
Oh yeah, 100%. If I'm a sophomore in there with a lot of seniors. Well, I'm going to stick my chest out and I want to see what kind of weight I can put on that bar. I want to try and be a big boy, where trying to grab that leash and pull them back and say, hey man, you're going to have your time, you're going to have your day. But like right now, let's focus on learning how to do this correctly. And that's a tough thing to do, especially with that age and especially with males, especially with guys. That's a tough thing to do. But the more you can do that and teach that technique and hammer those basics in, the better those kids are going to be in the long run, right? And I've seen it firsthand. A kid who trained with us recently, who is now playing football in college and doing his thing. That was the thing with him for a long time. Was we taught basics, we cut basics, and it's like it's that repetitive, boring. Over and over and over and over. Well, yeah, now you're excelling in college on a scholarship because of those basics.
Can I guess who this is?
Sure.
Is it Tyler?
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
That's one of them, right? And Tyler, I'm not taking full credit for that because Tyler did go and train with somebody else, but learning basics and learning technique and learning how to put the governor on, and like. Not have to lift heavy all the time and do things, talking max intensity all the time. It's focusing on the basics and doing them really well is going to do you some good. Now, that's a fine balance between, boring the shit out of a kid, right? While you're teaching technique and basics and still keeping things fun, right? And that's a hard thing to do.
So for youth, where's the starting point?
What are we talking?
As young as we can go. So let's say 5.
4 or 5 years old?
Yeah.
So for them, it's more about letting them, kind of explore and play with different things, right? And when I say play, it's, teaching them how to throw, teaching them how to jump, helping them learn movements like that, when I say teaching them how to run and chase, and dodge and, that at that age, that's what it's about, right? Which a long time ago, kids used to get a lot of in PE, right? When, we're going back how many years, but that's been phased out for a long time now, right? But letting kids experience things like that and learn basics like that and explore and play and do things at that age, that's where they're going to start to develop skills, right? And develop their own movement patterns, right? And then from there, they get a little bit older. You start to teach a little bit more. You start to incorporate yeah, maybe some position work in, right? Like Dalton. I'll use Dalton as an example. Dalton's 9, right? Or going to be 9. And Dalton knows how to deadlift, right? He's got his own barbell. He knows how to deadlift. He knows how to squat. He knows how to overhead press. He can do cleans. But when he first started doing this stuff, it wasn't like, I'm going to teach you how to do the conventional deadlift today. But no, it was before he started picking stuff off the ground. If you guys are watching this, I'd tell him to get in an outfield position for baseball.
Mm.
So what is that? He's sticking his butt out. He's got his back flat, right? And you're already in a deadlift, right? And it's just relating it to sports and things like that. And
Yeah, I think you talked about the ready position a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. And it's, things like that is, we start to transition into more of a, how do I want to say it? You start to go more from play into development of skill, right? And then from the development of skill, you start to really, as you progress into that like 12, 13, 14-year-old range, now you're starting to train, right? And it's still fun. You still want to make it fun for these guys, but now you're focusing a little bit more on the actual training, the squats, the deadlifts, the, stuff like that. So, yeah.
Start reeling it in a little bit.
Yeah. You start really wide and you just kind of bring it down. But, for any of those ages, like I said, it all comes back to them having fun, and enjoying what they're doing. Because if they're not enjoying it,
right.
Excuse me, how long is it really going to last? So, making it a game, having fun with it, teaching them basics, teaching them technique, that's all big stuff. And, keeping it consistent too. That's something that a lot of kids lack is consistency, right? Is if you're going to do something and you want these kids to get better, then they have to do it. Use it like baseball, right? If you're playing baseball and you say are practicing twice a week and you're playing a game, then you don't go to practice twice a week and then you just show up for the game and you're not getting those reps in of throwing and hitting and whatever, how good are you really going to be? Not real good, right? Yeah. It's the same thing like when you're spending time, with kids either, I'll talk about like the older kids. If I'm spending time with a kid who is coming to me to get stronger and I'm only seeing them once a week, and we're only able to focus on so much in that time that I see them, how much better are they going to get? Probably not real good. Now, does that mean that I have to train this kid 6 days a week? No. But they need to get their reps. They need to focus. They need to have that consistency within the training too, where they're doing the same things, right? And it's repetitive, repetition, all while still trying to make it fun. Like I said, it's a tough thing to do, real tough thing to do. For the kids too, a big thing is, and I'm gonna kind of float back and forth here. Like when they first start working out, and this is something that we tried to do with Dalton at an early age when he first started. I say working out. He played sports, but he started doing run club, right? And what I tried to get him to do on his own, and he kind of did, was make a connection between running or working out and how good he felt. Right? Because I think that's a big thing is, if I know that what I'm doing is going to make me feel good either right now or later, I'm probably going to do it, right? You're going to have that reward of feeling good. Fast forward to when somebody's an adult, what do most adults associate working out with? Is it good feelings?
I would say no.
It's 100% no.
Yeah.
Right? Is they associate working out with like...
It's almost like they're torturing themselves in order to get this final result. And that, there's that in the middle of actually doing it. That's not good.
Right.
Instead of the journey being good, there's a sacrifice.
Right. And it is. And believe me, there it is. It is sacrifice. It is. But if I can get in that mindset, and I'm talking for adults now. If I can get in an adult in the mindset of what I'm doing makes me feel good, they're probably going to have good results.
Right.
Right. So with the kids, right, if I can set them up with that type of mindset early, I'm saving them years of battle.
Yeah.
Right.
Getting ahead.
Yeah. Years of pain, years of frustration of working out has to be hard. It has to be this negative thing. It has to be this thing that causes me pain and, so much stress.
Yeah.
Because that's the way so many people think of it is, the people that come into the gym here are people that, I've dealt with like nutrition coaching. That's another one too, is nutrition's a touchy one, but, so many of those people have that negative, kind of feeling towards working out. Yeah. Association with working out when they first start. And it's like, well, working out's shouldn't be a negative. Shouldn't be, this should be something that you think of as a positive.
Right.
Because what are you doing? You're making yourself feel good. Now, it may hurt a little bit when you first start. It may make you sore, but the benefits that you are getting far outweigh, the pros far outweigh the cons here. So, getting kids. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, probably the easiest thing to point out is moving around day to day.
Yeah.
It gets better eventually.
Yeah, for sure.
That one probably comes quicker than maybe anything else,
For sure. And getting kids to realize that and recognize that on their own is awesome. And I've seen it, like I said, I see it at different levels. I've seen it, with my own son, at a young age, starting running and then working out and moving and realizing like, hey, yeah, I feel good and I feel this and that. But it's even the fun ones for me is like, because I don't train a lot of young kids like that age. It's mostly high school or older. But the high school kids is they at first, they're getting into it and they're not really realizing they're learning. There's so much learning that goes on. There's so much technique that goes on and teaching that goes on. But once they realize like, hey, I'm getting strong, and I'm not just talking about weight on the bar, but let's say for football, I've got a kid who on the football field all of a sudden is pushing other kids around, is moving bodies, is running faster, is jumping higher, is, playing basketball, and now I'm, grabbing more rebounds, or I'm hitting a baseball farther, or, I'm kicking a soccer ball further, I'm running faster to that ball, whatever it is. Once they start to make that connection of, hey, I've been training, I've been working out, and I've been putting in this effort, and now I'm seeing that reward and the benefit from it, like all of a sudden something clicks.
The value.
Yeah. They see that pay off. That's huge, right? And that's big. And I think for a lot of young athletes, that carries over. Again, we'll talk about how it relates to adults. That carries over into their adult life. And I see that with people that I train, that I've trained firsthand as adults that come into the gym. And I can usually point out somebody who is an athlete because they have that connection between, this is good for me, it's benefiting me, as opposed to this hurts, it sucks, I hate it. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's cool when the kids start to make that connection, right? When they can see the positive of what they're doing, right? Whether it's the young kids or the older kids, and like, hey, yeah, I feel good, and they notice. They definitely notice. Like Dalton, it's funny because he'll when he practices, like tonight, he'll sleep like a rock, right? Like, and he notices that, like, at the end of the day, right? We'll be done, and he'll be winding down and doing this thing. I'm like, how you feeling? Oh, I'm tired. How come you're tired? I worked hard at practice. And that's cool, right? That's cool that he's making that connection, and he knows why, and he knows that he's going to get a good night's rest because of it. So, having the kids make those connections is awesome, right? It's awesome. For talking about like his age group and the stuff that you can do with the younger kids, there's a lot of debate, right? A lot of people say, oh, you shouldn't have kids work out. You shouldn't have them lift weights. I say if a kid mentally is ready, and you kind of get a pretty good idea of the kids that mentally are ready to start lifting weights at a young age, I think you should let them. Now, does that mean they should be lifting heavy? No, it should be 100% about technique, right? You should be teaching them how to move, right? Just like if I was teaching you how to, play shortstop. I'm teaching you how to move your body correctly. Now, a lot of people say, well, you're putting the kids under load. That's stressful on the growth plates and on the joints. And you ever watch a kid play? You ever watch a kid and they'll climb up on a table like this and jump down?
Yeah.
You think that is not as stressful as me putting a 5-pound bar on a kid's back and having them squat with it? The force that's applied jumping off of this table onto the
Their
floor.
whole weight coming down.
Yeah. These kids that are jumping out of a tree and they're landing on their hands. Well, again, that 5-pound weight that I'm going to give a kid to push has nothing compared to the force that's being applied as they're hitting the ground, right? So you might as well teach them how to do it well and correctly and move the right way, right? And plus, let's be real, strength training is going to help develop muscle. It's going to help with bone density. Like, this is all stuff that kids can benefit from. Again, I'm not saying that your kids should go out and lift crazy heavy. So dads that are watching this, calm down.
Get him in the garage.
Your kid does not need your 45-pound bar on his back today, right? It's still about the teaching and the technique, but that little bit of resistance, I think, will help, especially, for kids that are going to play contact sports. It's definitely going to help. So, what do you got, Mikey? What do you got on kids working out?
Not too much, I just, again, thinking of my nephews, it's hard for them to make any positive association with forced work. My brother-in-law does a good job, though. He did judo, so he's used to training kids.
So he beats them.
Yes.
Okay, good.
But, my sister will tell me, like, the other day, they just ran around. They raced each other,
Yeah.
And, they try to do heats. He had him do stair climbs, or I don't know what, but I know stairs were involved. And he's like, all right, we got to do 3 more rounds of this. And the older nephew said, no, I'm retired. But, he's doing his best and trying to keep them engaged. And I think for them, the first step is being used to being active. For them, I think it's running around. But yeah, I hope they keep it up. So I'm just keeping my ear peeled to what you're saying. To pass anything along.
And like I said, a lot of times for kids, when I say working out, I use that loosely, right? Especially for younger kids, it should just be a form of play, right? It should be fun. On our YouTube, we have kids workouts on there. Dalton and I filmed. I think there's like 15 or 20 of them.
Yeah.
That we started doing with the lockdown, right? With the shelter in place.
Springtime.
And it was just like, hey, let's put some kid workouts up, for these kids that are at home. And it's me kind of talking and Dalton demonstrating and going through stuff. And if you notice the stuff that we do, I always put a warm up in there, right? Just kind of get the kids moving around. Part of the warm up too is just get these kids used to doing stuff get them used to doing a squat, get them used to doing a sit up, get them used to doing a plank, whatever, just little movements that are going to help them get a little bit stronger. So if they only do the warm up, awesome, right? But the workouts themselves, most of them are like little games, or little AMRAPs, right? As many times as you can, I want you to get in a push-up position and then tap your chest, right? Do chest taps, like little things like that. Kids love it because it's a game and you get points, right? And it's funny too because that carries over into adults because you notice some of the workouts that we do at the gym. I put your name on the board and you get points. And people are like, even as adults, people are like, yeah, point. Oh, yeah. But for the kids especially, it's, when you start to tie it in as a game, right? And do stuff like that, they love it. They love it. Like I know some of the stuff that Dalton loves is like when we'll do some of our workouts where we will have like animal movements, like the animal crawls or the jumps or stuff like that. Like, kids eat that stuff up, man. They love it. I mean, I think back when I was a kid, if I got to jump around and do all sorts of animal stuff, like I was happy. You know what I mean? Like that was fun. And that's, again, you make it a game, you have fun with it, and you just kind of let them move and kind of explore, and it'll be cool. Especially for, like I said, for Dalton's age, like the age of your nephews, like that. That's the stuff that It's cool. It's cool. And it's cool to see the young ones, like I said, when they can make that connection between feeling good and movement, it's fantastic, dude. It's fantastic. The next step is when they make the connection between eating good and feeling good. And that's where the stuff that
Tough one.
That's it, and that's what we're getting to with D though, is he's making that connection. So it's cool. It's cool to see. It's cool to see for sure. We did that a few weeks ago. Tara saw this cereal that was like this like keto friendly low carb cereal. So of course she got suckered in because we used to have a cereal problem at my house this back in the day, but not to name names, but Tara used to eat a ton of cereal. So she saw this like, oh my God, low carb, low sugar. So she got some. Dalton sees it. Oh, cereal, huh? He has some. His stomach did not respond well to it. Like it was wrecked, right? Like poor little guy was like, Daddy, I got to go to the bathroom again. Like he's hurting. But he immediately made the connection between, okay, this food's not good for me. My body doesn't respond well to it. I don't want to have that again.
Right.
Whereas like me as a kid, I was like, hey, that Taco Bell messed me up. Can I have it tomorrow? Like,
let me get more.
My kid's a lot smarter than I was. But it's cool when you see the kids making connection like that. So, yeah. You got anything else you want to add for the kids?
Nope.
Okay. So for the parents, because you guys are the one who's going to be watching this, what do you do to get your kids started? You want to get your kids started working out. Well, if they're young, again, check out some of the videos that we have on the YouTube page, on our YouTube channel. That's usually pretty good for the young kids up to about 10 or 11. If they're a little bit older, and they want to really start, exploring more, working out more, get them a coach. Make sure that you have somebody who knows what they are doing. And even still, at that age, it needs to be fun, and they need to hammer home those basics of whatever they're doing. It's all about technique. It's all about learning. And then from there, as those kids get a little bit older, you're getting into high school age kids. Again, we're talking technique. We're talking basics. And then from there, make sure they're still having fun with it. Make sure they don't hate it, because then they're going to have issues as an adult of not ever wanting to work out again, which we don't want. So
what do we got? Explore.
Yep.
Technique.
Yep.
Train.
Yep. Exactly. That's kind of your progression with it, right? It's kind of your progression. Cool. So heavy back squats for all of them, right? No, if you guys do have questions about kids working out, let me know. Be more than happy to answer any questions you guys have. I know this is kind of general, but I know it's something that a lot of people, I get asked questions about it a lot. Can my kid work out? Yeah, your kids can work out for sure. It just needs to be appropriate for the age that they're at. But if you guys have more detailed questions, shoot them. Send us a message on Facebook, Instagram. Send us a DM, castironworkouts@gmail.com. You guys can always, send us an email there. Subscribe, like, follow, all that good stuff. That's all I got.
That's perfect.
Yeah. All right, guys. Have a good day. We'll see you.